So now I'm just going to show you some really nice spinal mobility exercises that we can do in sitting. Some of these can be done sat on the floor, and others can be done sat in a day chair or on a hardback dining chair, wherever's comfortable. So we're going to start with what we call a seated twist. Now you can either do this with legs crossed in this position, or you can straighten them out and have them out in front of you in long sitting, whichever is more comfortable, whichever your lower limbs can tolerate. Either is absolutely fine. I prefer to do it in sitting because I feel like it gives me a little bit more stability. And what we're going to do here, I'm going to reach around to the right hand side. So I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to place it behind me as far as I can reach. And then I'm going to take my left hand over towards my right hip on the floor. And I'm going to use my hands to kind of help pull me round. And I'm going to take my head around with me. So my head's going to guide the movement. And I'm going to look round behind me as far as possible. Now what's quite nice to do with this one is as you get so far round, as far as you feel like you can go, hold that for around 10 seconds and then take a really big deep breath in. And as you breathe out, as you try and move around with the breath, so breathe out and at the same time try and just give an extra rotation. And you might find that you get some extra mobility doing it that way. And then we're going to do the same on the opposite side. So take your left arm out behind you as far as you can and take your right hand over towards your left hip. And again, just try and use your arms to help pull you round and follow around with your head. So let your head guide the movement. So take your head around behind you and just use your arms to help pull you round. And again, at the position where you feel like you've gone as far as you can, hold that for around 10 seconds and take a big deep breath in. And as you breathe out, just try and give yourself a little bit of extra movement. Breathing out into that stretch as far as is possible. And then gently coming back to the beginning. So the next one that we're going to do is called a seated roll down. Now you can either do this in long sitting, so in this position like this, and equally I'll show you how you can do this on a dining chair, or sat in a day chair is absolutely fine. So in long sitting to start with, I can use my hands for support. And I'm going to start the movement from my head. So I'm going to take my chin down to my chest. And then once I've got that far, I'm then going to feel like I'm rolling from top down. So it's all very segmental, really gentle. And then take your arms down with you as far as you feel that you can. And by doing that in a segmental way, we should be able to open out the spine quite nicely, as opposed to the opposite, which would be kind of generating it from the hips. So instead of kind of coming at it from the hip movement here, which will get more hamstring, to make it more spinal, we want to take chin down first and then gently, bit by bit, just roll down into that. And we should make that feel like it's much more localised in through the back, and it's also quite a nice neural mobilising exercise to do as well. So hold that for as long as it's comfortable. See if you can hold that for around 30 seconds. And then just gently bring yourself out of that in the opposite direction, back into sitting. Now again, you can do that using a dining chair or sitting on your day chair. So if you're going to do it on a dining chair, you can use your hands to support on lower limbs. So the principle is the same. So I'm going to take my chin down first, using my hands to support on my legs, and then rolling down bit by bit, and then taking my hands down, holding onto my legs as far as I can. Again, giving a nice kind of spinal stretch in that position there. And then come out of it in the opposite direction. So kind of come from the bottom, so from the lower back, all the way back up into sitting. And the head's the last piece to finish. So the next exercise that we're going to do is what we call a hollow and arch. Again, we can do these in sitting. So to start with, have a sit on the floor in long sitting in this position, and then take one leg, if you can, and bend it up and towards your chest. Again, if you don't have the ability to do that, you can keep your legs out in long sitting in front of you. That's fine. You may just need something behind you to give you a little bit of support. So I'm going to bend one leg up towards me, and I'm going to just clasp my hands gently around my shin. I'm not pulling through my shin, I'm just kind of loosely using that for support. And what we're going to do here is we're going to kind of sink back. So I'm going to take myself back into a rounded position, so I can feel that through my upper back. And then again, using light support through your hands. Be quite active through your upper back and try and drive the movement from shoulders and your upper back to kind of generate that extension. So again, I'm not pulling through my shin, I'm just using that for support lightly, as I'm quite active then through my thoracic spine, kind of drawing my shoulders kind of gently downwards and lifting the chest upwards. Again, a variation of that, if this isn't possible, is to do it in a dining chair or sitting on your day chair, and you can use your hands to drive that. So if you're supported enough that you can use your hands, you can take your hands forwards, reaching out as far forwards as is possible again, so you can feel that stretch across the upper back. And then again, kind of keeping it fluid, clasp your hands behind you and kind of drive that movement from your chest, taking your hands back as far as is possible and opening out through the front of your chest would be another variation way to do that. If you've got the trunk and lower limb control, the alternative again to that is to do what we call sad cat, happy cat. So hands directly under shoulders, knees directly under the hips. And what we're going to do here is we're going to push down into the floor, so screw our hands into the floor and kind of drive up through the top of your back, reaching up as far as possible, and you can take your chin and look down. So look down towards your belly button, and then the opposite, you're just going to gently come back down, sink your lower back into the floor and look up towards the ceiling as far as is possible. Hold that for a few seconds and then reverse it. So again, screw the hands into the floor, drive the upper back into the top of the ceiling and look down towards your belly button. You should feel nice mobility through the upper back as you do so. For just as a nice variation for those that can do that.